Hello everyone, Noto Addiction here, and in today's video, we're going to discuss watching my cousin become addicted to drugs broke my heart. If you're new here, or you already been here, go ahead and click that like button, go ahead and comment, go ahead and subscribe, click that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I drop a video. Without further ado, let's go on and get into this topic and discuss how this actually happened. So, this was my cousin that me, especially being an alcohol addict. Me, I was always drinking. So he used to be one of my drinking buddies, but we was always hanging out too because I noticed that I knew him in middle school. This is before I even knew he was my cousin. But I noticed that we was always drinking together. We was drinking, it was just only alcohol, and then it was just only alcohol and black amounts. It was straight like that at first because it wasn't too much, it wasn't any incentive or nothing like that. So, it wasn't really okay just because it still was an addiction, but it wasn't what's going to lead up to this story and what actually caused this experience to break my heart. So, get into this. I noticed he ended up started going with another guy, like he was going off with the guy, and he's just going around. And I noticed he had this little package in his hand. I was wondering like what that was, and he used to like sprinkle stuff over his thing every time. So I'm thinking like, what is that? So I never really knew what it was. I just knew it was just something that was white, and I just didn't know what it really was. It could have been anything. So I just noticed things was just kind of spiraling. I noticed that he used to start off with a bunch of snorts. It was like a bunch of like this heavy like like that. It's like really like a real like almost like he had a cold or something, but it was just really bad kind of. But I just really didn't really pay it too much of mind because just as you say, when we're drinking and together and just hanging out, we were just cool. And noticed that he liked to really hang with me just about over everybody else. So watching him do that, I noticed the things were just starting to get a little uppity. I ended up watching him have one episode when he was just kind of mad that he couldn't get what he wanted. But I noticed that the only thing we was doing was black amounts and uh and liquor. So it seemed like when we was together, it seemed like that's all that worked. But it seems like when we apart, he needed the other stuff. So I guess to a certain degree, he only wanted to drink with me. But when he was apart from me, he didn't want everything, the drinking and stuff like that was just not enough for him because I guess he didn't like to be around the rest of his family, the rest of our family, I guess you could say on his side. So I noticed that he'd go off, and I noticed one episode and they called me over there because they know I'm the only one that can kind of really talk him out of stuff. And I noticed that's what it was at first, but I noticed I came over, I got him to come and drink with me, and everything was fine after that. But I noticed that it was this girl he ended up dealing with. He ended up having this girlfriend, and they was talking, they was hitting it off and stuff like that. It was cool. But then they ended up going off, and I'm guessing he got like a huge lump sum of money. Like I guess like by I guess upwards to about $1,000+ or something like that, something along them lines. And knowing somebody that has a drug addiction that I didn't even know about at first, I didn't know about that. I didn't know about it at first. It gave him a lot of ammunition to be able to really do what he do with unchecked because the girl wasn't going to stop him from doing it. That he was the type he gonna do what the hell he want to do, and he wasn't around me, so I ain't had no vice to do that. But if he got money, he went off with her. They was gone for about 2 weeks. They was gone for about 2 weeks. I don't know if they were staying in a hotel, her spot. I guess it was from night after night. I guess they paid for a hotel for I guess a good 2 weeks. But I just know that he was gone for 2 weeks. And the thing that really just killed me about the whole situation was ever since he came back broke. But at the same time, he came back. He just wasn't the same when he came back. He wasn't the same when he came back. I noticed the girl was saying that was arguing on social media saying, "Oh, you're not this, you're not that, and you hurt me and stuff like that, but not physically, but just I'm guessing that they got into an altercation, an argument, and it ended, and they playing the blame game at this point in time. So I noticed he came back, but he was just extremely quiet. You see what I'm saying? It was like very, very quiet. He was a very, very quiet person. Knowing him, he was very vocal and he's always talking. We could barely get one or two words out of him. Like barely at all. Like I'm sitting there trying to talk with him, everything. He came back, he was just on silent. And I didn't even notice that. Thinking about it, I noticed he would play on his phone a lot of sad, heartbroken stories, but not knowing he was on the midst of having a drug addiction as well. I guess that was probably like the first phase of it, but it really quieted him down. But at the same time, he was going through heartbreak, and that was like a very serious thing at that point in time for him. He was really, really hurt over what happened between him and the girl. And I didn't really notice that, but I noticed by when we hang out and stuff, he'll still come hang out with me. He'll still come drink, but it just wasn't the same. He wouldn't talk. He wouldn't say anything. It was just like having like a silent partner, just sitting there, playing love songs, playing everything. I'm trying to try everything to get him to come back. I'm trying to do everything to talk him into bringing out the memories of when we was hanging out at the club and hanging out, funny memories and stuff like that. He'll chuckle a little bit, but he just wasn't him. He just wasn't him. I don't know if the drugs was stifling his personality, was just had a chokehold on him, but it just wasn't the same. I can't really explain the phenomenon, but he just wasn't him. He was there, but he just wasn't there. He would still drink a little bit. He'll still hang out. He'll still do a little bit of things, but I couldn't get him to talk. So that's what that really like made me real sad about the situation. I'm like, oh my goodness, I ain't know what we could do. So I noticed we had a little bit more silver lining when it came back to it, because one thing we used to do when we used to drink on the porch all the time was we used to freestyle a lot. So we used to freestyle, and I'm talking about this went on for about 3 weeks after he came back with the girl. So like I said, when he came back, he was never the same. He was real quiet, extremely quiet, wasn't speaking. You would think he was mute, to the point where he just wasn't speaking at all. Like seriously, was not speaking. He was just making movements. He just it was what it was. But after this, I noticed that I was playing a beat, and I was recording myself, like doing like a little freestyle, and I played it back for myself, and it was playing back in auto tune. And I noticed he liked that, and I noticed that it made me so happy that night, that he came back for a little bit. He came back and freestyled with me for a little bit. So I was like thinking, okay, maybe this is working. This is working. You see what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, this dude wasn't saying anything. He wasn't saying nothing. It was the weirdest thing in the part. Think of the most talkative person you know, and they come back from a 2-week vacation somewhere else, and you know that they've been on drugs or something like that, but you don't know to what extent, and know that they've probably been laced. You never know to what extent, and they come back and they're just silent, but still moving around, but just silent. That is extremely weird. That is extremely out of place. That's not normal. That's like a cat walking on his hind legs, walking up the stairs with a baby stroller. That is an unusual, unheard of phenomenon. So the fact that he came back, that made me rejoice in my soul. I'm like thinking, okay, this is working. This is working. Him hanging with me, and this and that. But it went to a couple of days after that, he kind of went back. I tried the freestyle therapy, but it didn't work this time. So I guess we were back. It felt like we went back to square one a little bit. But that's a little bit of time passed. It kind of worked and it kept going. And then he got to the point where he began to speak again. So I was good. I was good on that. And I think after that is what he ended up getting locked up. That's what happened. He ended up getting locked up, and he came back to the streets, and he was able to speak again. He was speaking again. So I was like, oh my goodness, I hated to say it, but jail was the most important thing that kind of happened. So this is where the heartbreaking thing really happens. I want to tell you everything that led up to. This is what really broke my heart right here. Is when he got a hold to what they call in the streets, the Molly. This is when he started getting a hold of that. And it might have been a mixture of something else too, but we just know a lot of that was the case. So I noticed that he was doing that, and it seemed like it was all he ever wanted. I tried to get him to drink with me and stuff like that, because even though two evils ain't even the best, but for him, the drinking was a lesser evil than that. I don't even like looking like that, because we know how to. We're doing an addiction channel. I won't like trading addiction for addiction. But in his case, I felt like I would rather him drink than do what he was doing. I'm just keeping it a buck, and you're gonna see why further in the video. So when he was starting to do that, he was like getting to the point where he was having these episodes, and he was getting like really anxious about wanting this M. He was always needed it. It would get to the point where it was some dudes that made him a bet that if he jump in the dumpster, he can get a rock. He can get a rock of it. So what he did, he lined up. Everybody was outside, and it was just horrible to watch. It was just horrible to watch because I was way up, but I was drunk as hell myself. But I wasn't noticing what was going on until I seen like it was a video of it. He literally like got a running start, ran up and jumped straight into the dumpster for the rock. That's when I knew that began it. That's what made it begin to me. Damn near brought tears to my eyes was to think like he was really going this far for this, and the chokehold that it has on him, the chokehold that this addiction has on him, that addiction to that drug had on him. But so even further and further, going even further after that was when I did that, when I seen that, I was like, I was just lost for words because I was thinking like, man, I didn't think he would go to that extent. But noticing how far it went after that is what really catapulted my heartbreak for this situation, because then it went from this and then he started having these real deal episodes. It get to the point where you ever seen the Ray Charles movie, the Ray Charles biopic with Jamie Foxx, and they started to notice that he started doing the itches, and it was like people are starting to notice, and that he's on it, and but he's okay because he's still functioning, and and that's a way that people around him is still accept something that's going on with a person around you, but they don't take it as seriously because they feel like they're a functioning addict. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that there's no such thing as like a functioning addict. If you're not functioning. That's just an excuse to be able to stay on it without somebody checking you about the situation that you're in. That's just the way to go along your life unbothered by it and unchecked. It's dismissive to me. So I don't like saying that, oh, he's a functioning this, he's a functioning alcoholic, he's a functioning gambling addict, he's a functioning drug addict. Just because they can get things done while they're doing this, that doesn't mean that doesn't have a chokehold on their life, and that doesn't mean that their life is inspiring down just because they get a few tasks done while they're consuming the substance or indulging in the act. So that's another thing that I didn't really like about that situation. Because a lot of people was dismissing these episodes. He would begin to like really like strike at the air as if he was fighting someone, having loud outbursts like, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing?" I'm talking about out of nowhere. He can just be walking down the sidewalk, saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" But to a person that's walking by that don't know him or something like that, or never even seen him, or never don't know what's going on, would think that he's talking to them. You know what I'm saying? He used to be in the store asking, begging for change, doing those same outbursts and fighting the air and stuff like that. Understand how dangerous that could have been for him. You see what I mean? It's good to the point where the store manager said he couldn't come to the store anymore. Thankful for that. I'm glad for that, because that could have went bad. Because you can't be running up on people doing all these ticking movements. See, he wasn't one of those types of dudes that was just hooked on the drugs and kind of stay to himself and just ask for change on the side or nothing like that. No, he was kind of the aggressive type. He'll run up on you and be like, "Hey, you got 50 cents, you got 75 cents, and all this." And then while he's asking you, he's having these bang, bang, bang. It's almost like he had Tourette syndrome almost. I don't know what it felt like. It brought out a part of Tourette's in him. So he was beginning striking the air, like while he walking down, he'll just be like, just getting mad at her. I'm talking about he's throwing literal haymakers and at thin air. It's to the point like you would think that he's like actually fighting someone, that an entity or someone that is not there, but you would think someone was there by how hard he was striking at the air. So it's almost to the point where the hits were starting to get harder and harder and harder, and it was to the point where I was trying to hand him a drink one night, and he was just so much on the thing like this, trying to fight. Get off me. I was like, and he knocked the drink out of my hand. So I'm looking like, this is like really serious. And it gets to the point where people just sitting there that's like, this really just sitting around is like, this is normal. This is not normal. Like, he really needs help. But I wasn't in a position to provide any help for him, nor could I just force him to go anywhere that he wanted to go. And I couldn't do anything if his people didn't, other people didn't want to do. He's just my cousin. He's not like he's my immediate, so I can offer the help, but it's not like I can force him into anything. I can't force him into anything. Nobody's not reporting this. Nobody around this community was reporting that he was in that state of mind. Everybody was just ignoring him, as long as he didn't really go too far and like strike somebody or something like that, which did occur on a couple bases. I'm not going to say what in what situation, but it did occur to that extent. But it just broke my heart to see him in that state of mind, coming from where he was, the cheerful regular guy that he was, just wanted to turn up, just wanted to chill with his fam and hang out and stuff like that. And just to be consumed by this addiction to drugs, it's what really broke my heart. It took me down. Like, I can't. It's just it's ridiculous. And the fact that nobody really cared too much to even say nothing, or you want to do nothing, everybody that's looking at it is so normal. I feel like I was the only one that wanted to do something. And when I went away for a little while, it seemed like it got even worse, because I was the only person he would hang with outside of that. So he would get, he like, that'll bring peace to the situation. So even when he was with me and he had his episodes, it wasn't as grand as if he wasn't with me, because he didn't like nobody else like that. His family got on his nerves so much, so they made him mad. So they made everything worse when they was around him. So it's not like I was the only thing that, being around me is the only thing that really calmed him down. Whenever he had one of the episodes, they came and got me. So I can't, for some reason, I know I couldn't watch him 24/7, but even though some part of me still wants to, how you feel guilty, even though it's not truly your fault. But if I went away, I feel like, but I can't be there 24/7 to just watch over him. You see what I mean? 'Cause some people are trying to be like, oh, you're blaming me for, oh, you're not there. He don't want to hang around you, but I can't be around him 24/7. I have a life to live of my own. I'm not his caretaker. We told him we need to put him somewhere where he can recover in some type of rehabilitation center, but nobody was trying to do that because they feel like it was so much work to do that. So eventually, but that's how that broke my heart. But currently, he's in a psych ward. I mean, he's in a ward. He's somewhere where he can get some rehabilitation, somewhere where he can recover and hopefully get the help that he really needs, instead of just being in jail, which was never a thing. Like, they kept locking him up because they kept catching him outside. There wasn't a thing to put him in jail. He needed to go somewhere where he can rehabilitate. So I'm happy for him that he's in there. I'm going to go visit him soon and see what's going on with him right now, because I currently don't know his current condition at this point in time, but I hear from his family that he's good. From the other part of the family, you could say. So that's how watching his addiction broke my heart. To this day, it still make me feel bad, because seeing it go down is just, it's crazy. It was vivid, like a movie. Like, you seeing him punch the air and yell, and the enemies, you would almost think that you had a whole group of people there. Just, he was there fighting a whole army by himself. It was really just a cry for help without necessarily saying it. And I remember, I'll never forget this right here. I was like, "Cuz, why you won't just stop smoking that? Why you just won't leave it alone?" And he was like, and this was around the time when he was quiet too, before all the stuff. He just looked at me, he was like, "I can't, cuz. I just can't." And like, I know it sounds simple, but that really stuck with me. That really stuck with me, because it felt like so part of me felt like I kind of failed him, but at the same time, like I say, I can't be around him 24/7, but I feel like I could have done a little more, but at the same time, like I say, I can't be around him. So it just stuck on me. Now I think about it, he was like, "I really can't, cuz. I just can't." And it's like it was a cry for help, that he just really needed help. He knew that he couldn't do it by himself. But anyway, it's No Dough Addiction here, coming to another video. If you're enjoying the content, want to click the like button, go to comment, go to subscribe, and click that notification bell so you can be notified whenever I drop a video. And remember, guys, anybody can overcome an addiction if you're willing to try, if you're willing to voice your story, if you're available to be vulnerable, you'll be able to overcome any addiction. Just have it in yourself that you want to get it done. Have it in yourself that you really want to overcome it. Have it in yourself that it's going to be hard. But also understand that you're not alone. I'm out.